You picked up your phone for 10 seconds. That was 40 minutes ago. You don't remember most of what you saw. You just remember the feeling of not being able to stop. Here's the part that should bother you. You didn't choose to scroll that long. Something in your brain made that choice for you before you even noticed. This isn't about willpower. It's not about being lazy or weak or addicted to your phone. It's about a system that was built on purpose to outsmart the part of your brain that's supposed to stop you. And it's working exactly as designed. Let's start with the part nobody explains properly. Your brain doesn't release dopamine when something good happens. It releases dopamine when something good might happen. The maybe is the trigger, not the reward itself. This is called variable reward. Slot machines have used it for 100 years. You don't know if the next pull wins. That uncertainty is what keeps your hand moving. Now look at your feed. Every swipe might be boring, or it might be the funniest thing you've seen all week. You don't know which one it'll be until you swipe, so you keep swiping, not because the content is good, because the not knowing is the addictive part. Your thumb isn't searching for content anymore. It's pulling a slot machine lever built into glass that fits in your pocket. Here's where it gets worse. Each app isn't just designed to be engaging. It's tested on millions of people to find the exact version that keeps you scrolling 3% longer than the last version. Then it's tested again and again. Thousands of tiny experiments optimizing one single number. Not your happiness, not your well-being. Time on screen. You're not using an app. You're the result of 1,000 experiments you never agreed to be part of. Now here's the part that explains why you feel different afterward. Scientists have a name for what happens to attention after heavy scrolling. Some call it popcorn brain. Your attention starts snapping rapidly from one thing to the next, like kernels popping, unable to sit still on anything for long. After enough scrolling, a paragraph like this one starts to feel unbearably slow. A movie without cuts every 2 seconds starts to feel boring. A real conversation without notifications starts to feel like it's dragging, not because the world got slower, because your brain's baseline for stimulation got rewired. You didn't lose your attention span. You trained it to expect constant novelty, and it now treats anything less as a malfunction. This is the part people are starting to call brain rot, not as a joke anymore, as an actual pattern researchers are tracking: reduced attention span, lower tolerance for boredom, a flattened ability to sit with a single thought for more than a few seconds. It's not that your brain is broken, it's that your brain adapted perfectly to an environment that rewards never finishing anything. Here's a question worth sitting with. When was the last time you watched something start to finish without checking your phone once? If you can't remember, that's not a coincidence. That's the system working. Let's go one layer deeper, because this is where it stops being about social media at all. Your brain is a prediction machine. It is constantly guessing what happens next, and feeling a tiny hit of satisfaction when it's right, and a tiny hit of tension when it's wrong. Every swipe is a prediction. What's the next video? Every single one either confirms or breaks that prediction. Confirm, swipe, break, swipe. Either way, your brain stays hooked, chasing the next answer. This is the exact same mechanism behind why a slot machine feels impossible to walk away from. Win or lose, your brain wants one more spin to resolve the uncertainty. Your feed isn't entertainment. It's an unresolved question, repeated infinitely, that your brain physically cannot stop trying to answer. And the app never lets the question resolve, because the moment it resolves, you'd put the phone down. So the feed never ends. There's no bottom to scroll to. There's no final answer waiting for you. There was never supposed to be one. Now here's the part that's almost funny, if it wasn't so deliberate. The infinite scroll, the feature that removed the next page button, wasn't an accident. The designer who created it has openly said he regrets it. Removing that one small pause, the moment where you'd have to click next and briefly ask yourself, do I want to keep going? Removed the only moment where your brain could catch itself. One tiny decision point, delete it, and without it there's nothing left to interrupt the loop. You're not weak for not stopping. The stopping point was removed before you ever got there. Let's talk about what this actually costs you, because it's not just time. Every time your attention gets pulled, it takes your brain almost 20 minutes to fully return to deep focus. Not seconds, minutes. Which means a 5-second glance at your phone during work isn't a 5-second cost. It's a 20-minute tax on your concentration, paid quietly, that you never notice you're paying. Multiply that by every notification, every quick check, every idle scroll between tasks. You're not just losing time, you're losing your ability to stay with anything long enough to actually think. And thinking, the slow, boring, uncomfortable kind, is exactly what builds the things that matter. Deep relationships, real skill, original ideas. None of those come from a feed. All of them require the exact kind of sustained attention that scrolling is quietly dissolving. Here's the unsettling part. This isn't a flaw in the system. This is the system succeeding. Every minute you spend unable to look away is a minute counted, measured, and reported as a win somewhere on a dashboard you'll never see. Your distraction isn't a side effect. It's the product. You are not the user. Your attention is what's being sold, and you're simply where it's harvested from. So what actually helps? Because awareness alone doesn't fix this. The research keeps pointing to a few unglamorous things. Removing the app entirely is more effective than trying to use it less, because moderation requires the same depleted willpower the app was designed to defeat. Turning your phone to grayscale removes a huge part of the dopamine pull, because color itself is part of the reward signal. Putting your phone in another room while working does more for focus than any productivity app ever could. None of these are exciting. None of them feel like a hack. They work precisely because they remove the decision entirely, instead of asking you to resist a system built by thousands of people whose only job is to make resisting it nearly impossible. You're not fighting a habit. You're fighting a designed environment. And you don't win a fight like that with willpower. You win it by leaving the room. Here's the bigger question underneath all of this. If your attention is the most valuable thing you have, the thing that decides what you learn, who you connect with, what you remember about your own life, then every app fighting for it isn't a neutral tool. It's a daily negotiation over the only resource you can never get back. Most people don't think of their attention as something being taken. They think of it as something they're simply choosing to spend. But you don't choose a slot machine. You get pulled into one. And the moment you start noticing the pull instead of the content, something shifts. You stop asking, what should I watch next? And start asking, why do I feel like I have to? That question is uncomfortable. It's also the only one that actually leads anywhere. Because the goal was never to make you hate your phone. It was to make you notice the moment the choice stopped being yours. So the next time you pick it up for just a second, don't ask what's on the feed. Ask this instead. Whose attention is this really? Yours or someone else's, on loan, for as long as they can keep you from putting it down?